let's start.
Hi everybody! We watched a film and now we're going to talk about it in a, not quite a backseat, but yeah.
It's a seat.
Yee.
But we do it in 8-minute segments.
Yes. And then everyone dies.
Could be arsed to help edit around that.
Okay, we could just keep the whole review down to 8 minutes and
then everything explodes.
we could repeat the same thing and gaslight them into thinking it's...
I think you're putting a lot of faith in our memories.
I think we'll be a lot... No, we gaslight them by just repeating the same thing every time, and they it's different and they have to find the differences. But there are no differences, that's the point.
Anyway,
Okay.
why don't you introduce the film you made us watch?
I didn't make us watch
Yeah, technically you did. It was a Patreon request.
Yes, it
You're
was.
the Patreon minion. Do the whole...
I didn't know it was a Patreon request. I thought it was just, I'm here, I'm going to rule the world. No, I'm not. Got it.
Yes, this was a patron request, Backseat critique for 2011's source code.
Is it that long ago?
I think so.
Wow.
Jesus.
Directed by
Overall.
Duncan Jones, aka originally known as Zowie Bowie, David Bowie's son. Also the director of
Didn't you do something recently?
did Moon and the Warcraft movie and a few other things.
Oh, yeah.
Moon, supposedly very good. Haven't watched it. Warcraft movie.
The Warcraft movie got too much studio interference.
Forgettable.
And currently doing an
It could've been
animated
so good.
film inspired by 2000 AD about a soldier, but I don't know anything about that.
Oh.
Anyway, so initial thoughts.
I thought it was fine. It was very, very good. Cerebral. Very few in the way of complaints. My biggest issue, quote unquote, is that you've got the war on terror vibes are very, very, very strong in it. As a matter of plot. But the technology level is way too high for it. So it's the sort of film that was silly when it came out because of this, and it's going to get worse as time goes on, as politics continues to evolve and the tech continues to be more and more outlandish. They really should have set it in the future. To square that circle.
That's fair.
I can see that. It was a generic action film with a good little twist. We called the twist like way much earlier than the film intended us, but
Although we did have an argument over what exactly was going on, and it turns out that one of us seems to have been more right than the others.
We'll get back to that. I thought it was an enjoyable film. I wouldn't call it generic action movie in any way, shape or form. It wasn't generic. Nice concept. Enjoyable. Had my issues with how they finished it.
yeah.
But it would have the great concept for a game if you did it like a twist on the visual novel concept, or turn that around like one of those modern detective games you do, where but every loop you're finding more information until you build the whole puzzle.
Like you get like the death loop where you're repeating the same day in order, where you we're going to go into spoiler territory now at this point, by the way. Because this is literally what I said too, this would make a good game. Where you're in the environment, the things play out, and then you have to interact with the environment up until the end event to try and figure out what happened and how to stop it. That would be great, and then every scenario would be a different level.
Beyond because they have the time loop thing, beyond that, it's very much like a Telltale game. In that small group of characters, and he's got to interact with them, and you almost get a flash saying, they will remember that, but they only remember it until the next loop. But you could easily Telltale game this.
Yeah, very enjoyable in that regard. Pleasantly surprised.
Because you're like, oh, Hagan always gives us terrible things to watch. I hate Hagan, so evil.
And yet you just gave us something fucking terrible to watch before this one.
That wasn't my fault. I watched him good before that.
That was absolutely horrendous.
That was that was probably one of the worst things you've given us, full stop in the story. Post in the comments what you think we're talking about. And no, it's not Caligula. Anyway.
Caligula's awesome.
Hint, it's animated.
Animated Caligula.
Not fucking Caligula. Jesus Christ. This is 100.
You're taking me off. I was had points and now they're gone. With your random
You brought
You
Caligula.
brought it up.
No, before that, the
So, the concept of the film is you have a soldier who is quantum leaping into the body of a school teacher to try and figure out who bombed the train that they're on. Nothing he can do can prevent it. It's already an incident that has happened in the past, and they are using the brainwaves of the guy he's currently in, like his dead brain, which is also never brought up again, by the way. It's just the fact that they just hook him up to this brain and then...
Apparently his brain got half damaged and there's only a piece left, but his body's fine and it still looks like Dave Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
Which
But
is
no, I'm talking about the science teacher.
Yeah, they chose him and he's like, well, you're dead.
His brain's still about to like hook him up to him and so they can like relive the last 8 minutes of his memory. But it's not just his memory, it is the reality around the train. Because you have instances where he like full on like leaves the train and follows people to incidents that the school teacher could not possibly have known. Like how could he known the brown guy was going to the bathroom to throw up?
yeah, again, this is an area we can come back to in its own discussion point.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the gist of it. He has to keep reliving this disaster in varying levels of sanity to try and figure out who bombed the train and to like let the military know so they can stop future ones.
And more importantly, he's quantum leaping into this guy, and but his dad, who he calls at one point, is voiced by Scott Bakula, star of Quantum Leap. And he even says, "Oh boy," at one point.
Oh boy.
But yeah, it was an enjoyable film. I liked how they did it. It did occur to me as we approached the end of the film, I have seen this before. I have very little memory of it.
Yeah,
but
I was thinking.
have definitely seen it before.
I was thinking that you had seen this, so I was surprised whenever you said you hadn't. I was like, I must be misremembered that.
I didn't have much of a recollection of it, but whenever we woke up on the train, I was like, I think I've seen this before, but I didn't know anything about where it was going. And then as we got into the finale, thoughts of, oh yeah, and I remember I didn't like this.
It was one of those films that was like completely oversaturated, the trailer fucking everywhere.
Yeah, it was one of those big tentpole summer releases that everyone was like, oh my god, go see this, and then everyone forgot about it.
Is this just after or just before Inception?
This would have been just, when was Inception, 2009?
No, after the Inception then. If it was
Yeah, it would have been
2011.
just after Inception.
But this made decent money. Like it was not a flop. So apparently the saturation worked a bit.
Maybe Inception was later. Maybe Inception was like
Let's discover this.
Because Batman Begins and all, it was around 2008. 2008 is when the Dark Knight. He did it after the Dark
2010.
Rises. So
Yeah, fair enough.
Congratulations if you wrote it in the comments.
So there was like a small surge of like mind fuckery films that did really well after Inception.
yeah, it makes sense.
But yeah. So problems with the film.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like the end. Like, the typical American films trying to tie everything up in a nice little bow. I did not like the deciding, oh, it's actually an alternative reality, even though this makes no sense based on the science and the characters and what they're actually doing here.
Body snatched
So
this
apparently
man's life.
they have a machine that links up to someone's brain and see their last 8 minutes, and somehow that takes them into an alternative reality.
On the quantum level, though, they use the word quantum. Therefore, anything's possible.
Well, I think this means you go back into the thing and you into their thing, but then the quantum thing happens because you got two versions then split
Just
off.
because you say
one goes
quantum,
everything goes fine, and the other one's where they didn't.
Just
so
because
it's
you say
creates a new
quantum doesn't mean you can just science your way out of it. It's like saying something's gone wrong in the lithium matrix and you need to play with the God knows what.
I think they were going for it creates a parallel universe at the 8-minute point where he comes in. I think that's what they were going for.
And if that's the case, then doesn't explain how he always gets reset every time.
Well, that universe ends.
Well, he didn't get reset until he died.
Except the one time he did.
I thought they pulled him back.
I don't think we pull him back. He's already in an alternative reality.
But yeah, I do have an issue with I have an issue with the ending as well because it's straight up body snatchers. He has essentially murdered this man and has now taken over his skin
Well, he
to
didn't.
bone a woman he is known for a grand total of what? 37 minutes?
Technically, he didn't murder him. He it was non-consensually murder. He didn't murder someone.
Murdered by the U.S. government.
Although he did actually be sent back again, so you could
So
make
he
the
is
argument.
quite literally just given up every connection he had to step into this man's life. This man probably has parents, has siblings, has mortgage. He has a job as a student, as a teacher.
Yeah.
This man cannot step into the role of a teacher. He knows nothing about this woman. He knows nothing about
But
this
is
man.
this man Jake Gyllenhaal? The answer is no until now. Now he is.
So, yeah, he just essentially just stole this man's face and stapled it on and took over his life.
This is the origin for Mysterio in the MCU. This is how it
Yeah.
happened.
One of my other biggest issues as well is he's told to find the terrorist. The first two people he suspects and viciously attacks and assaults is a brown guy and a guy with a stereotypical Muslim beard. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, dude.
It's like, you've got a bunch of time. You could just attack everyone
Like,
in
he
alphabetical
didn't
order.
even have a valid reason to follow them. It was just a brown guy who was walking slightly fast and a guy with a Muslim beard who was sitting there looking slightly annoyed. That's literally the only reason he attacked those two people.
A film of its time.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, that's one of the reasons that it's beyond the main plot. It's got the war and terror vibes.
Yeah. Considering the actual terrorist was an American, a white guy who was all like, "We'll burn down the government."
Wasp.
This is the time when everyone was talking about dirty bombs rather
Yeah.
than. I mean, just.
What were they implying that this guy was supposed to be like a dirty socialist because we had to
where,
rebuild
like,
the
where,
rubble?
like, no
Maybe.
explanation comes. But how does a kid,
Could be an
a
anarcho-primitivist.
person, create a dirty bomb? Just create their own dirty bomb. That's not something you can just make.
First, you don't bathe for 6 years.
Not the kind of dirty bomb we're looking at.
Technically, it is relatively easy. First off, you get a bomb, and then you
Where
acquire
has he
to-
got the uranium?
It doesn't have to be uranium. It can be any radioactive substance.
Enough
For
bananas.
example, there was a YouTuber I watched who actually got picked up by the FBI because he was buying the radioactive, the clock faces with the radium faces. He was buying them because he was collecting them. They thought he was taking the radium off the dials to make a dirty bomb. Those are the kind of things you can collect. You can collect uranium glass, you can collect Geiger counters, you can collect old medical equipment. There is so much radioactive shit that you can very easily gather up.
I don't agree with this statement very easily.
In the Ulster Museum, there is a radioactive board game, or lab set that was for kids from the 50s.
Yeah, and can you turn that into a dirty bomb?
Yes.
With enough versions of it, you
them.
could.
It's like saying that I can kill. I can make myself drunk by drinking orange juice.
No.
Because of absolute trace amounts.
No, you'd be like, it's like saying I can. It's like saying I can get drunk by drinking enough Fentimans, which has a tiny amount of alcohol in it. And theoretically, you could. Unfortunately, practically, you'd probably piss it out before you actually get alcohol.
Yeah, you metabolize it before you. But the point is,
Anyway, it's very silly.
it is. But you
Just go full
abandoned
ball.
hospitals, abandoned vet clinics. You will have X-ray machines. You will have things like that will have radioactive components.
Would you prefer a Back to the Future thing where he's just like, I made a deal with Libyan terrorists?
Exactly! But in this case, it would be Afghan terrorists. And then we have a connection back to him and what he's doing. And then there's a reason for his racial
They could have had the bomber be a member of his unit who survived and is very bitter about it.
Indeed, or they could have done the other approach, which is just make him a neo-Nazi.
See, I was expecting
It was still au fait back then.
I was expecting them to link it off to a second person because of the second phone. But no, just like back to this guy.
They're like, it's getting too complicated.
Yeah, they didn't need the two phones. But yeah, point is, I should probably, as a Northern Irish person, stop talking about how easy it is to make a bomb.
It's true, though.
You could use bananas and make potassium bombs.
Making mustard gas, now that's an easy thing to make.
Yeah, I nearly did that once accidentally.
Don't do it again.
I said nearly. I caught myself before I did it.
Good.
It's bad enough to breathe in mustard bags.
Anyway, we are putting this on the internet, so we should really stop talking about such things. Anyway,
I'm not talking about it. I'm talking about
I
mustard
hope you
and
were planning on
bananas.
monetizing this one.
I That's all right. We're far enough in far enough in the so anyone else got any thoughts?
Other than we had no clear motivation of the bomber, other than I'm just sad that we live in a society.
He was basically Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber.
Yeah.
Not living in a shack, though. Like, it's young, hot Ted Kaczynski on the Netflix version.
My biggest issue is how quick this is in films. People just fall for someone that they've known for like barely 20 minutes and decide they want to either risk their lives or spend the rest of their lives with us. You don't know this person.
But they did spend the rest of their lives with them many times.
And
8 minutes doesn't count
It
because
is.
a good chunk of those she wasn't with him, and another chunk of times she was yelling at him for randomly attacking people.
brown people.
Yes.
And they did spend the rest of the time, because they're together again at the end when their time ends because they don't continue on.
Yeah.
The film's over.
Because he used his what women want fucking mindset to manipulate her into a kiss. He used foreknowledge to manipulate her. That is creepy. That is so fucking creepy.
Enough about Groundhog Day.
And where is this going to go? I mean, the guy, she's been talking to this guy for months and months and months and months, and he ain't got a fucking baldies.
Yeah. Where does he live? Where does he work? He doesn't fucking know. He has no access to anything in this guy's life. He can't access his bank accounts because he doesn't know the PIN or anything. He can't access his house because he doesn't know where he fucking
You
lives.
can just go to the hospital and say, I got amnesia.
Do you reckon they have?
I'm going to do prove it's not him.
Do you reckon they did a follow up to this? Source code 2, identity theft.
Probably. But yeah, that's one of the many reasons of why the ending was fucked. Also, he pretty much just sent an email to the Air Force officer who was controlling it. First off, why did she open that in a secure bunker on an unsecured phone on the network? That would not have been allowed.
How did he get her phone number?
How did he even get her fucking email address?
He found out her name and then was able to track her down. Who knows?
He put her first name dot her last name at usairforce.gov.
And he was telling her to basically that a source code works and you send him on missions and he'll end up in a parallel universe too and be happy. It'll be great. So basically
And she shrugged that off.
Oh no, I think she's going to do it anyway. But if I'm right, and they're going to use him in the future, and it'll go on. That means he accidentally turned himself into a chain letter.
Yeah. The implications of receiving that email of a parallel universe, and she just shrugs it off like, oh.
And because there's an infinite amount of parallel universes, that means there's going to be an infinite amount of him, which means eventually statistically he is going to end up, in a relationship with everyone on the planet. Because there will be an infinite number of parallel universes, so this will keep happening for an infinite amount of time.
Because
Infinite realities.
No.
Infinite versions.
No.
No, I think
That's not how it works.
He's been on ice. He's not getting any older.
And his body will eventually die before he can do that. Even if he did it one person a minute for the rest of his natural life.
His
There wouldn't
body.
be enough time.
His body was frozen before they even thought him for this
There's
thing.
no suggestion his body
He's
was
not frozen.
I thought he was.
No, he's
No.
just there on life support.
Still, I think it's funny that if you got the idea that everyone's dating Jake Gyllenhaal. Even Jake Gyllenhaal will end up having relations with Jake Gyllenhaal, the actor, will have relationships with someone who's got the mind of Jake Gyllenhaal.
How did we get here? Can we get off here?
Do you want to get off this train, dear?
Yes, I do. I want to get off this train before it blows up.
So, yeah, that's source code.
It was enjoyable.
It was a decent film.
Yeah.
Except the implications at the end.
Don't think about it.
It's a
like
neat
we did.
sci-fi concept that probably would have been handled better by an actual sci-fi writer and
Yeah.
not David Bowie's son.
True.
Like, I will give him credit, there were some like pretty cool camera angles in that. Like that sequence where he realised, oh fuck, I'm actually dead and this is a creation of my mind, where the whole thing just went that was a good shot.
And then it was ripped off by Doctor Who in Series 6 with Clara in the Dalek.
I'm going to assume you know what you're talking about because I don't watch Doctor Who.
The doctor was had a companion called Clara, but this before
I'm
she
aware
became,
of that.
before she became a companion. She met her before, and she was going by Oswald, and he's there to rescue her, and then they're in communication the entire time, and then the doctor comes face to face with her, and he discovers that she's actually a Dalek, and she's like, "No, I'm not. I'm here," and she thinks she's trapped inside a thing, and then the doctor's like, "No, you're actually a Dalek. They turned you into a Dalek because they're fucking nuts, and your mind made you think you were trapped in a spaceship." And she's like, "Oh shit!" and then she dies, and then Clara appears.
That's a different Backseat critique.
Yeah.
Series 6 is not the best of New Who.
But yeah, source code is a product of its time.
Sorry,
Take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, Series 6. Yeah, it is.
Any closing thoughts?
I have thoughts.
Evidently
No,
not.
I did not. What about you, Peanut Gallery? Have you anything you want to add?
No, he's probably got it covered.
Yeah. Okay. The Peanut Gallery, my little sister, says, nah. To a
What
little teenager.
What about you? What about you, other peanut gallery of a cat?
That's Chi. Let her sleep. She's old.
The peanut gallery in the camera, you can post in the comments, algorithm and all that.
Yeah, see if you can guess what absolutely horrendous animated film we were forced to watch earlier on.
And just so you know that you can't do this by looking in for the next 6 months or 6 years of my show and my videos and work out what it was in retrospect, because it's not for my show, it's for someone else's.
Yeah.
Because we would not have watched this for notes if it was just for my show.
Yeah, so not only did we suffered for someone else. Anyway,
Aye.
shall we bring this a close? You got to say the things.
Like, subscribe, comment to slag her off or whatever. Make a guess of what we were talking about. Check out Patreon, check out the Discord, pop in and tease her directly yourself.
Caligula 2, The Untold Story.
We're not watching Caligula!